Welcome to What No One Knows, the podcast that tells the secret behind the published books, hosted by Lisa Marie Garcia, the Chief Operating Officer of Now Publishing, a full-service book publishing and author PR firm. Through the years in the publishing industry, we've heard the statement over and over, "This is what no one knows," when we interview would-be authors wishing to tell their story. This is what this podcast is all about. And now to our podcast and our host, Lisa Marie Garcia.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on the podcast called What No One Knows. Today, we have a very special guest, and I am Lisa Marie Garcia with Now Publishing. We're so excited today to talk to a very accomplished woman. We know her affectionately as Dr. Maria, and many of her patients know her as Dr. Maria, but she is Dr. Maria Scunziano-Singh. She is known as a board-certified internist, MD with a diploma in Naturopathic Medicine. She has over 25 years of experience in the medical and healthcare world. She's a co-founder of the large group Access Healthcare Physicians. It's a multi-specialty practice that spans over many countries. Dr. Maria's practice is in Spring Hill, Florida, and her whole health approach combines conventional and alternative methods that are instrumental in helping her patients lead the healthiest lives. Dr. Maria, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Liza. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're just excited to talk to you, and especially since I happen to have read from cover to cover your book, Be Consciously Healthy, Awaken to Your Best Life. And we both know that you actually wrote a second book. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but I just want to stay on your book, Be Consciously Healthy, and share with people some facts about your book and the process and what led you to write the book. But just in a high-reaching statement, I can't tell you how many people I've talked with that have read parts of your book or all of the book or shared and recommend your book that really appreciate that it's really a practice in a book. I mean, for all, intents and purposes, it's really your medical philosophy based on the number of years experience and credentials that you have, and really just written in a way to really help people that might not be fortunate to be your patient. So thank you for that. And I'm excited that we can dig in a little bit. What I wanted to ask you is, when you started the process of writing this book, can you share with the listeners, did you have difficulties? Did you have doubts about it? Were you real strong on what you thought the end result would look like? Kind of maybe go back to that point before the book came to life, so to speak, and kind of share with your feelings there.
Well, I had every intention of trying to get a message across to the world out there about what health is, where it stems from, and I feel that there's a general lack of understanding and or a lot of misguidance out in health as it stands. There's been tremendous work in the realm of health and healing. And as an internist who was trained in conventional medicine, I saw that there are a lot of gaps in that whole realm of convention, which I wanted to fill with the knowledge that I gained as I learned and researched natural means and methods of health and healing. I wanted to bring this out to the public because the frustrations I had growing up as a child and having to deal with a tremendous challenge of a disabled mother, I wanted to bring this out to everyone, that is, and using that as a basis to help teach people that it's okay, we can get through the hardships and the challenges of health and wellness. There's a lot of them out there. And I wanted to bring this out and have people understand there's a lot more than conventional medicine has been providing. and it's a huge world, and I've tried to touch upon it in the book. And it was also inspired by my dream to have a center where people can come and they can be enlightened and they can be nurtured, awakened, and healed. And I use those 4 words in my book to to express how important a center, a place, a hub of health and wellness was to me, and is to the community. I like it known that we're here. So the book helped put my thoughts together and help kind of bring me to this center which we've created. So there were kind of like 2 births that I had given birth to. That is, the 2 pregnancies, or perhaps a twin pregnancy.
Maybe not Siamese, right? Yeah, maybe not, or maybe not Siamese. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Now I'm not remembering what type of twins there are. That's probably why I don't have a PhD in medicine. I definitely want to talk about the WellCome Om Center, which you talked about just a little bit, because it's amazing. And I just encourage everyone that has not had the chance to go and experience the campus and the holistic environment that it is. It's really fantastic. So we'll talk about that for sure. But you briefly mentioned sort of the beginnings and of your purpose, and how you have this purpose to share, like you just said, to help the misguidance and to help the lack of full understanding in what you practice and in medicine in general. But I do want to share with the reader, or with the listeners, how you got into medicine. And it's a personal story, and you share some of it in your book. But if you could just let them know from where this really started, and how you started to birth, as you say, that heart for helping people.
Well, again, it's just, I guess it was built into my soul. I had a purpose. My mom was my inspiration. I had to take care of her as a very young child. I was less than 10 when I was doing what most people never will do in their life, to care for someone, to do everything, including help bathe them and feed them and so forth. So it was a real challenge to me, and I felt I had the skill. I mean, I was developing skills, and I knew I wanted to help others. As I said, I could do this, and I know that I can reach out and touch other lives too. And it wasn't quite there when I was that young, but as I got older, I realized this is my destiny. I'm going to go down this path because I have something here it's a continuous learning process for me. So I was learning about taking care of people early on. And as anyone who has been in that kind of a situation, I think it's similar. We have a similar understanding that we have a purpose to help and help others. So we learn through our early life experiences, and it takes us into a state of mind where, okay, I can do this. So I pursued health in medicine. But before I was able to go to medical school, because of the circumstances, I had to choose an allied health profession to kind of give me that experience, and then that taste of what it would be like to really help people in the workplace, in an environment where I was working with other people, not just my own personal position at home, but I became a respiratory therapist in a local college, and I was fortunate in that I had that experience. It taught me so much there, and I connected with so many people. As I graduated from my program, got my bachelor's and so forth. And then, my mom was not really getting better. She was getting older, and the disease was progressing that she had. And then I realized, I'm going to go for the gold. And for me, the gold was to be able to teach people, to get a degree that would allow me a voice and a body to be able to help others. And I saw entering medical school as an opportunity to take those things, to use my voice, to use my mind, my body, and to be able to teach people what I would learn. And again, my learning started early on, and so for the medical student that I would become, I was already kind of prepped and on solid ground to be able to help others. So I really felt more comfortable as a medical student. And I also wanted to study, which I was very interested in studying the other aspects that I wasn't taught in medical school, and that is the natural means and methods and those other traditional practices that contribute tremendously to health and wellness. So I wanted to combine the two worlds, and it was a lot of work. And it was a challenge, but I pursued and I did it. And I continue to learn and I continue to grow in this field because I feel like I'm still in my infancy.
So much was packed into what you just said. And what I was first really keen on as you were speaking is that idea that, you really found your passion at a very young age. And I believe we all do. I think, we are who we have always been. And the key, I believe, is being able to recognize that, earlier versus later in your life, recognize what makes you happy, recognize what you see your skill set and talent, moving towards, and then building on that versus, not recognizing it and finding out that you're unhappy because you're not doing, what your passion is. So I love that. And as you were saying, you were a medical student, but as you're a student, you actually were already helping people. You were already, living and breathing of what you were, finishing your degree to do on a different level. It's nice to hear, that your path was, I would say, very non-traditional, right? In many ways, in how you ended up, being a, board certified MD, and then all. So it's a refreshing, I think, because there's just many paths to the finish line. And I think that's important for everyone to, realize, as unique as we are, there's so many unique paths. So I love that that's part of your story, and it's in your book of Be Consciously Healthy, as you talk through, your different jobs and your different life paths, and that. But that's just a great thing to talk to someone that knows their purpose and is living it out. What I want to ask you next, though, is I want to ask you, as you said, I mean, it's you're helping people, you're helping them with your medical wisdom that encompasses more than just your, MD knowledge. What would you say to someone that's thinking of getting into this new world that we're in and this time now? What would you encourage them to study, to do? How would you mentor a young Dr. Maria today?
That's an interesting question. I would be all over them with the whole integral approach to handling the challenges of today. We cannot just rely on conventional medication and other procedures that are done in that arena. The world of traditional and or innovative newer ideas that are based on and founded on traditional practices of natural healing, whether it's Ayurvedic medicine or traditional Chinese medicine or anything that comes from various other cultures. They have pearls. They have pearls of wisdom that have been expounded on, and now in the naturopathic world, which is a huge world of treatment, of health and wellness. There's all this to be gleaned and to be taken for the sake of improving and or improving our bodies and preventing the illnesses that we face every moment, the body is a haven for microbial life. We